Everybody, introducing the founder and the CEO, baby. And I'm proud to have this guy in my studio. Let me tell you something, G. It don't get no bigger than this, G. I'm proud to have this man in my studio, the founder and the CEO of VladTV, baby. Introducing my dude, my man, the one and only, the only one, DJ Vlad.
Yeah.
Yo, Vlad!
My man.
What's up, Vlad?
Oh, man, pleasure to be here.
What's up, Vlad? Yo, everybody, DJ Vlad, baby. Hey, yo, check 1, 2. Flavor Flav right here in the building. I can't be no more glad than to have in my studio DJ Vlad. Yo, Vlad! What's up, VladTV?
What up, Flav?
Wow. Hey, y'all, don't attempt to adjust your TV set because this shit is real.
That's right.
How you doing, Vlad? Thank you for coming down to my spot, man, to my show, man, to come see me, man. You know what I'm saying? This is big to me, Vlad.
Man, thank you for having me because you were on my show
Hey,
last
you
year.
damn right. You
You
damn
know,
right.
I always have to return the favor.
And let me tell you something, man. When I came on your show, I had a good time, bro.
Yeah, me too.
You know, it was a real good interview.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people got to see it.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? In the whole nine. And not only that, but hey, I'll do more of them.
There we go.
You know what I'm
There
saying?
we
But
go.
thank you now for coming down to my show.
Absolutely.
And look, check this out. You're always interviewing people.
Yeah.
How does it feel, man, to be on the other side now? How does it feel, Vlad?
I mean, it feels a little weird.
Huh?
You know, I like being behind the camera. You know, I mean, it's not the only interview I've done. I mean, I've done Breakfast Club and Hot 97 and whatever else, you know, over the years. But
Hot 97 in New York?
yeah, wait, have I done Hot 97? I've done a little bit with Hot 97, but I've done, you know, Big Boy Show. I've
Wow.
done Sway. I mean, I've made my rounds, but I rarely do interviews. You know, I rarely do them because I like being behind the camera and I like being kind of anonymous.
Right, no doubt.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what, though? But doing something like this right here shows the world that you're not too big to give back.
Right, absolutely.
You know, and this is called giving back. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of the people that you've done interviews with help to make you larger.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And there's nothing wrong with you being on the other side, helping other people get large too.
Yeah, and I do that with everyone. Anyone who interviews with me, if they have their own podcast or their own show or whatever, they hit me up and I'm there. You know, it doesn't matter how big or small the guest is. You know, if they were on my show,
Right.
I always support back every time.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you something, man. I mean, I ain't gonna lie, but I know I'm Flavor Flav. You know what I'm saying? I know I got a lot of love in the world today. You know what I'm saying? And I see that I can do a lot of things that a lot of people can't do. You know what I'm saying? Even like get DJ Vlad here in my studio. I didn't think this was going to happen. I ain't going to lie, man. You know what I'm saying? Because I know you're always behind the scenes. You know what I'm saying? In the whole nine. But, you know, there's a lot of people too, man, that would love to see who you are, man. You know what I'm saying? And they would love to meet you. Not only that, but a lot of people would love to hear what you got to say. Because you got to remember, Vlad, you became a lot of people's favorite person too. Come on, why you think VladTV is so big?
Yeah, I mean, it's mostly because of the guests. I mean, you know, I know that I play a role. You know, I play a role in it, but I stay behind the camera because I want the focus to be on the guests.
Right.
You know, I mean, I ask the questions and I steer the interviews, but, you know, and you know, for some people, I'm their favorite interviewer. For other people, it's whoever else. But, you know, I try to make it to be about as much of the guests as possible because I feel like I'm chronicling history.
Right.
You know,
Right.
It's like, you know, when we sit down, like when I sat down with you, I had you tell your life story up to this point.
Right.
And that's important, right? Because after we're gone and people are, you know, hearing Public Enemy for the first time, you know, people who aren't even born yet are hearing Nation of Millions or Fear of a Black Planet. They want to know more about Flavor Flav. They could go to a VladTV interview and hear the whole story spoken by you.
That's right.
You know what I mean? And
Right.
all the details and everything that I think is interesting about you up to this point.
Right.
And some people, they don't get the big documentary. Like, you know, I did John Witherspoon's last interview. He never got to tell his life story outside of VladTV.
Right.
And that means a lot to me. You know what I mean?
Right,
That means a lot.
Right. I mean, hey, you pulling things off that a lot of people can't pull off. You know what I'm saying? By getting some people's favorite celebrities telling their life stories, man.
Yeah.
And the only place that they could find that is on VladTV.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's what gave you favoritism, a thing called favoritism. That's why VladTV is so big. Because you got favoritism, bro. You can't be as big as you are, Vlad, without favoritism.
Yeah.
So that's why
I'll take that.
I wanted you to come to my show. You know what I'm saying? Because people would love to hear what their favorite person have to say. And my show gives you that platform. You know, my show gives that famous, you know, that favorite person a chance to let the world hear what they got to say and let them hear, you know, what he's about.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's why I had you come to my show, and I'm glad that you came to my show, because this is showing to everybody, you know, man, Vlad ain't too small to give back to the world. Because it's all about giving back, Vlad. You know what I'm saying?
Man. Absolutely.
I mean, you receive a lot. There's nothing wrong with giving a lot.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Wow, Vlad! I'm bugging out. I never took gymnastics. I always say this, but I'm flipping right now. I got my boy in my studio. You know what I'm saying? So, Vlad, so check this out. Let me ask you this. Who was your most interesting guest? Besides Flav.
My most interesting guest besides you. I would say Keefe D.
Wow, what was so interesting about Keefe B?
Keefe D was in the car that killed Tupac.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's the uncle of Orlando Anderson, Southside Crip.
Keefe B, right?
Keefe D.
Keefe D.
Keefe D.
Keefe D.
D. Yes.
Got you. Okay,
Yeah.
Keefe D.
Keefe D was in Las Vegas and was admitted to being in the car that killed Tupac.
Wow.
And he got to, I got him to tell his story.
But wasn't Suge Knight driving him?
No, the other car, the car that shot Tupac's car.
Oh, so Tupac was not inside the car with Suge Knight.
He was.
What?
But another car pulled up and opened fire. Keefe D was in that car.
Keefe D was in the car. Wait a minute, huh?
Okay.
Wait. Run this back to me
Okay.
again. Okay, because Tupac was in the car with Suge Knight.
Tupac was in a BMW with Suge Knight.
Right.
They had just beat up this kid at the MGM, right? Because he had tried to take a death row chain or whatever.
Okay, right.
That guy, Orlando Anderson, got into a car with three other guys, including Keefe D. They pulled up to Tupac's car and they opened fire and killed him.
Oh, okay. So Keefe D was in the car with the shooters. Wow.
And he got to tell his whole story.
And
since the Tupac, since officially, according to law enforcement, the Tupac murder is still unsolved, I felt that I solved that murder for, all the Tupac fans for years to come.
So if he got to tell that side of the story, did they ever catch the person that shot Tupac?
Well, he's dead.
The person that shot Tupac is dead now.
In fact, all three of the people in the car are dead except for him.
Except for Keefe D.
Keefe D is the only living person in that car.
Wow.
Yeah. I think historically that's big.
Wow, that's deep. That's deep. You're telling me something that I never knew.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Not only that, but if it wasn't for Tupac, right now I would not be sitting here talking to you.
Meaning?
Because Tupac stopped me from committing a murder by accident.
Really?
Yes. Big time. You know what I'm saying? And check this out. I wrote a book, right? Called Flavor Flav, The Icon and Memoirs. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to give you my book.
Okay.
All right? My book is right here.
right
Matter
there.
of fact, Vlad, see this book right here? This is yours.
Thank you.
And listen,
Thank you.
inside my book,
I need a sign, by the way.
yeah, I'll make sure I sign it and everything.
That's right.
And inside my book, I tell that story about how Tupac stopped me from committing a murder by accident.
Really?
And everything, you know what I'm saying? And
Okay.
then also, you could go on Google right now, and you can see the first time that I ever met Tupac, which was in New York, and I was coming out of a studio. He was on his way in, and he stopped me and asked me for my autograph. Crazy, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, being that you brought up this story, that's what got me into that, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Rest in peace.
Rest in
Tupac.
peace, my boy Pac, though.
Yeah.
You know, because he was good people, man. You know, and that was my dude.
Yeah, I never got to meet him, unfortunately.
Yeah, and then next thing you know, now my man Shock G.
Yeah.
You know, he's gone too, and Shock was my boy. Have you ever interviewed Shock G?
No, we tried. We tried. I reached out to him. At one point, we kind of exchanged a few DMs, but he was all over the place, really. Like, you know what I mean? He wasn't.
Right. Shock is all over the place.
Yeah, he was jumping around, you know what I mean? Like, here, there. No one really could get a hold of him. It's not like I could call someone.
Right.
You know, that was just Shock G. He was like a real artist. He was eccentric.
Uh-huh.
You know, from what I know, I've never met him either.
Right.
But from what I've seen and what people have told me. You actually knew him, though.
Yo, that was my boy. We were very good friends, man, you know, and when we were out on tour together back in the days, and Digital Underground was on tour with us.
Yeah.
You know, Tupac, he was a roadie around that time.
Right.
You know, and they never really wanted to give Pac the mic and shit, you know what I'm saying, in the whole nine. And there were times, man, after every show, Tupac, my nephew Ronald, and myself, we would hang out every day after the shows. You know what I'm saying? And that's how I really got to really know Pac real good. You know what I'm saying, in the whole nine. But Shock G, man, you know, we became real good friends. He came out to Long Island one time, man. He came to my house. He gave my mom's the Humpty Hump nose and shit. You know, we all went out to dinner that night. I remember, man, and Mark Six got arrested because he didn't have his license or something. It was crazy. You know what I'm saying, in the whole nine. But Shock G was, oh man, he's a beautiful human being, bro. Yeah. And he was fun, you know. And when he get on the piano, he was funky, man. He always loved that funk, man. And a lot of that funk that he had in him came from Parliament and Funkadelic.
Oh yeah, no, I grew up in the Bay, so Digital Underground was our heroes.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Like, those are the people I was listening to in high school. When, you know, by the time Humpty Dance came out, we had been fans. Do What You Like was already the jam.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the video with the pool and everything, we'd been rocking it. Like,
right.
So yeah, man. And I mean, you could really say that if it wasn't for Shock G, there's a good chance Tupac may have never become what he became, because that was the dude that really gave him a chance when he was nowhere.
That's right.
You know, and produced his first album that didn't really do numbers. And this is an interesting story. Someone from that camp told me this, was that if you think about what's Tupac's first hit record?
His first
hit record. What's Pac's first hit record?
What was it?
I Get Around.
Wow, right? I Get Around.
That was actually a Digital Underground song.
Right, that was a Digital Underground. That's why I wouldn't have named that one.
Right, but it's on Tupac's second album.
Wow.
Right? And that was actually a Digital Underground song that was pretty much done. Because look who's on it. Shock G's on it. Money B's on it.
Right.
Pac is on it also, but the rest of Digital Underground's on it. And from what I understand, they had that record already, and Pac was like, yo, can I use this for my album? And Shock G was like, here you go.
Wow.
And you know, it's not like, you know, Digital Underground could have used that for themselves, because they were still, you know, they weren't at their hottest stage at that point.
That's right.
But the fact that Shock G gave that record to Tupac and that became his first hit song, and after that he took off, had he not had that song, that second album might have not done well, and then, you know what I mean?
And Tupac might not have been as big as
might have gone back to working a 9 to 5. You know, the rap shit don't work out for everybody.
Right.
So really, like, Shock G, man, just so instrumental in and so much greatness.
Yeah, check out DJ Vlad dropping the knowledge. Wow. Yo, so back in the days around them times too, who was like some of your other, like mentored, groups that like mentored you? You know what I'm saying? Like Digital Underground, Public Enemy, us, like.
I mean, definitely Eazy-E, NWA.
NWA?
Yeah, Eazy-E in particular, because I remember there was.
Have you ever interviewed him?
Eazy?
Yeah.
Nah, because really, my professional hip hop career started in 2002. So anything before that, I was just a fan.
Have you ever interviewed anybody from NWA?
DJ JOLLA, Arabian Prince.
Wow.
I mean, Micayla was kind of.
Micayla, that's my girl, man.
I mean, Cole 187 who was, above the law. That's it from.
You never interviewed Ice Cube?
Nope.
Never interviewed Dr. Dre?
Never. I met Dre once briefly. I got dropped. Me and Ren have talked about doing interviews, but Ren don't like doing interviews. So
right.
That may not happen.
Right.
But yeah, DJ JOLLA was kind of like the only one. DOC.
DOC, that's my
DOC's
dude.
NWA. So yeah, so a few people, but not Cube, not Dre.
Yo, man, you got to get Ice Cube one time, man.
I know. I'd
know
love
what
to.
I'm saying? 'Cause
I'd love to.
Ice Cube done. I mean, shit. He became a big phenomenon.
Oh yeah, my
boy
man John
is the
Sally.
biggest. He's the biggest right now, man. Making movies. You know what I'm saying? He's
The
got
big
the
three.
big three
Yeah,
going on, man.
My man John Sally's
I'm so proud
on it,
of my boy, man, on his come up, man. Because it was us that did his first album, America's Most Wanted.
Yeah, and that was what I feel is his best album.
Yeah.
And you were on the Kill It Will EP also, right? The Kill It Will EP, you guys did that too.
Yes.
And you were on that.
Yes, definitely.
What was the song? What was the song on there?
Huh?
What was the song?
Only Out for One Thing.
Only Out for One Thing.
2 peas in the bucket.
Mother.
You either Flavor Flav it or you chuck it. Kiss my ass and suck a DICK stands for kill, so don't f
with me.
Yeah. Hey, yo, man, let me tell you something, man. And when we were in the studio doing Ice Cube's album, I just happened to pop up to the studio that night, and Cube said, "Yo, Flav, come in the booth, man. Come on and jump up on this." It was random, you know what I'm saying? But I'm like, that shit, man, I'm with Ice Cube. Fuck that shit, man. I'm jumping in. I'm jumping in here. You know what I'm saying? In the whole nine, and that's what we came up with and stuff, you know what I'm saying? But I'm just so proud of my man's come up from then to where he is now.
Yeah.
Man, Ice Cube, man, grew to be bigger than King Kong right now.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? Word up. And I'm proud of my dude, man. You know, you got to get him. You got to interview him one time, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, I would love to.
How was it? How was it interviewing Lil Boosie?
Boosie's my man. We've been doing interviews. You gotta understand, like, I interviewed Boosie in like 2004.
Wow.
Right? When he had him and Webby just got signed to Atlantic. You know, and there's videos of this. Like, they're still kids. Like, it was up in Atlantic offices. I'm holding the camera. Like, you know, I caught them when they first started. And, you know, people remember that.
2004?
2004. Yeah, 2004. So, you know, as he became Boosie and as my business grew, and at one point we just did another interview and it got so big, you know, that was like the Hypnotized with Hatred interview that kind of just went everywhere. And it was like, yo, it just makes sense for us to rock with each other, you know, because every time we get together, it's like, when you look at like every year, when I look at my numbers, the Boosie interviews are always the biggest interviews of the year.
Wow.
Numbers wise, like every time. People really just rock with Boosie like that.
Yeah.
And I think just our interaction.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because
right,
you got to have the, you know, I think the best interviews are when two people are very different.
Right.
Like me and Boosie are not similar.
Not at all, huh?
Not at all. But that's what makes it, you know, that's what makes it work.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's just like with me and Chuck.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying?
You and anybody.
Huh? I know.
You and anybody. Let's just keep it 100 here. There's no one like Flav out there.
Have you how was it interviewing my boy Chuck?
It was great. Me and Chuck have been talking about, because remember, I interviewed both of y'all like in Central Park in like 2008 when VladTV had first started, right? It's on YouTube.
Yo,
I went backstage.
That's kind of familiar, man.
Yeah,
I think
I was
remember
backstage.
doing an interview.
I was backstage. I remember Nori was around, and I went backstage. Me and you did this quick, like maybe 10-minute joint, and then me and Chuck maybe sat down for like 20 minutes.
Wow.
And like when me and Chuck were talking, he had already been following me, like my whole mixtape career and everything else. He knew exactly who I was and everything, which was very flattering because I was such a fan.
And that's Chuck, man. He be knowing everything.
He knows. He knows. So literally from 2008 to 2020, we've been texting each other talking about doing this interview for 12 years.
Wow.
Like, literally. Until one day he was like, yo, I'm ready to do it. So we did it. It was like a 3-hour interview. And I just got to really, do a real sit down and really dig into his background and everything. It was dope, man. One of my favorite all-time interviews.
And you know what? That sounds like Chuck, man. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Even though you only met him that one time, but then y'all stayed in contact for that many
12 years.
and
Seriously,
stuff.
yeah.
That sounds like Chuck because, Chuck, he's a hip-hop historian and shit, too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And one thing that I can say, he will keep in contact with you.
He does.
Shit.
Whenever I hit Chuck, he'll always hit me back.
Yeah.
Always hit me back. Whenever, all through the years. And, if Chuck wants to do something, he'll do it. And if he doesn't, he'll tell you why he don't want to do it. And we just keep it moving.
Have you gotten Griff yet?
Yeah, I did Griff.
You did Griff, too? How did that interview go?
Well. Yeah, it was a cool interview. We talked about some of the touchy subjects and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It was a cool interview.
Did I come up?
I think so.
I had to.
I think so.
On,
I don't know how you can talk to Griff.
I had to come up in a Griff interview.
Absolutely.
Come on, man.
Absolutely.
Ain't no way Flavor Flav ain't gonna come up in a Griff interview.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? In the whole nine.
Yeah, no, I've done Griff.
Yeah, man. We've had some touchy situations, in our lifetimes and stuff. You know what I'm saying? In the whole nine, but all of those times made us the great people that we are today.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? And we just learn how to just grow and move on.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? In the whole nine. Is there any interviews that you've done that like got people on their edge and like had animosity towards you or?
Yeah, all the time. all the time. I mean, for example, one interview that I held on to for a while until I finally dropped it. Well, there's a few. I'll talk about a few of them. So one of the interviews that was extremely controversial was I interviewed this dude named No Plug.
No
Plug, out of Atlanta.
Okay.
And essentially, No Plug had recently killed this other rapper named Bankroll Fresh.
Wow.
But the thing of it was, and the word was, okay, Bankroll Fresh was a popular Atlanta rapper. He wasn't quite nationwide yet, but he was, making a lot of noise in Atlanta. Jeezy had started to do songs with him and everything. And a situation happened where he got killed, and then everything I was hearing was, this dude named No Plug, who was 21 Savage's homeboy, killed him, right? And then one day I got a phone call from this dude I know and was like, yo, No Plug wants to do an interview and tell his side of the story. And I'm like, isn't he charged, is he facing a murder? They're like, nah, it was self-defense. He wants to explain it. So we sat down and he sort of explained the whole situation about how, that was his man, but they got into an argument, a fight happened.
Right.
And when he came back, this dude, Bankroll Fresh had basically had a gun out and shot at him first, and he returned fire. And he, Bankroll Fresh ended up getting killed. And, but he turned himself in to authorities. They went through the footage and so forth. And a lot of people were angry at me of like, how you going to give this dude a murder? How you going to give him a platform? How you going to let him talk? Because, Bankroll Fresh was a more popular rapper. So it looked like, a lot of people were upset. They were fans. But about a year later, Atlanta PD actually released the footage of that night. And you clearly see Bankroll Fresh with like a rifle, waving it around and anything else like that. So ultimately, the story that he said ended up being true.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But we got a lot of a lot of grief over that. A lot of people were angry at us. People didn't want to interview with us. I interviewed Ayanna Jackson, who was the Tupac rape accuser.
He was the Tupac.
She.
The Tupac what?
She was the one that accused Tupac of rape.
Okay,
and Tupac, remember how Tupac went to prison?
Got you, yes.
So her first ever on-camera interview was, and her only on-camera interview was with me. You know, and a lot of people are like, oh, she the one that put Tupac in prison. She a liar. She this, she that. And, she got a chance to tell her side of the story.
Right.
And, some of the pieces didn't quite fit together, which I, mentioned. And, so people could ultimately walk away saying, oh, we believe her, or nah, she a liar. And Pac got framed. But ultimately, these types of very controversial topics of putting people and letting them tell their story, I think is important historically. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
I got you.
That's another one that was, we got a lot of grief for.
Wow. My dude. Yeah, you've been on an interesting journey here, buddy.
Yeah.
Very interesting journey, man.
Yeah.
Is there any interviews that you've ever done that to where I'm now these questions is coming off the top of my head.
Go ahead.
And the reason why I'm asking you these questions is like this, you know what I'm saying? Because first of all, come on, man, I got DJ Vlad in my studio, bro. I'm bugging out. You know what I'm saying? For real. Is there any type of interviews that you've ever done to where you would like to go back to somebody and apologize to them for something wrong that you've ever said, or what I'm trying to say, right?
Yeah. There have been some, but since I haven't actually gotten a chance to talk to that person, there were some interviews that ended not so well, and we were supposed to redo them, but then for whatever reason they didn't get redone.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's just one of those things where, there were some interviews where, we may have gotten our facts slightly wrong.
Right.
And it comes out and it puts a certain level of grief on that person. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I don't really want to specifically talk about those situations because I never got a chance to actually reach out to those people myself. But yeah, man, you do. I mean, I've probably done over 1,000 interviews. So you gonna f up sometimes. You're gonna, because it's all a bit of an art form, right? You want to ask the difficult questions, but you don't want to have the person storm out of the room. Right. So you kind of have to figure out how to get to that question, without by first having the person be comfortable and having them be, feel comfortable enough to answer it with you and not just walk out or just say, I don't want to talk about it.
Right.
So yeah, there were some times, man. And you always try to walk that line of, like these are the questions that people really want to ask, but this person's also a human being and you don't want to violate their personal space.
So when you interview people, do you have your questions already lined up?
100%.
And you know exactly what you're going to ask
We
them?
research. Yeah, man, we research. And the research takes a long time. Sometimes it takes a few weeks.
Right.
You got to research. You got to talk to people. If I'm talking to someone, I'll hit up people around them and try to get, some more info, some stuff that's never hit the media and things like that.
Right.
And, like for example, I interviewed one of the dudes that was on the Hughleys. Remember the show The Hughleys with D.L. Hughley?
The Hughleys, the Hughleys.
The kid, the one that played, the actor that played his son, was like a young kid,
right?
On the show, ended up getting involved in a murder years later.
Wow.
Right.
Okay.
And also, his whole face is tatted. Like his entire face is tattoos. Right.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yo, do you know what? I got a homeboy. He's he DJs at Dre's.
Okay.
And his name happens to be DJ Seb 1.
Okay.
That's my dude. He's got a homeboy whose name is Quest. And Quest just did his whole face and tattoo. And he even tattooed his eyes. I never knew your eyes could get tattooed.
With the eyelids?
No.
The eyeballs?
The eyeballs.
Oh, shit. Yeah, that's some other shit.
The eyeballs.
I don't know about that.
The eyeballs, man. Yo, you know,
Yeah.
I'm going to pull his picture. I'm going to show you this picture,
Yeah.
bro. You're going to be like, are you kidding me? I mean, what would make people go to that length? What make people go that and to mess up their face?
I mean, you know, I think with certain people, they hang around certain types of other people who are doing it, and they get kind of into the culture of it all. Whatever that culture is, whether it's gang culture or music culture or just outlaw culture or whatever else. And yeah, this kid's whole face was tatted up. So before the interview, I'm on the phone with D.L. Hughley, you know, to try to just get some more information and so forth about, you know, his experience with him and so forth. And DL's telling me some stuff. Then he's like, matter of fact, I want to be in the interview. What time y'all filming? All right, I'm going to be there. So D.L. Hughley just shows up and he just sits in on the whole interview. Because D.L. Hughley actually took the stand in that murder case.
Vlad.
For his
I want to show you this, Vlad.
Okay.
This shit is real.
Oof. So he has black eyes. That's crazy. Yeah, it's a little scary.
He did his whole face and
scary.
eyes and everything.
That's crazy.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, whoa! I met this guy. Yo, and he's a good person, man. So so check this out, Vlad. Now, how did things go the past year now, being that, you know, this COVID thing came around, and I know you had to switch a lot of shit up, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, like, did that affect your shows a lot?
Yeah, man. I mean, we had well, here's the thing, right? We had already been doing remote interviews. So like when me and you did our interview, you were in LA, I was in New York. Remember? You know, and we were doing the FaceTime thing when you and I did our interview on VladTV.
Right.
So we've been doing that for years already.
Right.
Since I'm not on camera, I didn't have to readjust that much. It's like, okay, we've been doing interviews like this. We'll have to do more interviews like this because people aren't willing to come sit down in person with us. So in that regard, it took some adjustment, but we were already kind of there. We were sort of ahead of the curve already. But in terms of the pandemic, man, it wore down on everybody. You know, a lot of relationships, you know, disappeared.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of friendships went away. You got to see people for who they are.
Yeah, no doubt.
You know what I mean? It was like, you know, you lost a certain amount, but it also forced you to focus on the people that are important, and you got to see the people that really were there for you during that time. You got to see who your real friends were, you know? So in that regard, it was emotionally, you know, very trying, but when I look back on it, it ended up being our best year ever. So
check this out.
It kind of worked out in its own type of way.
You are a DJ.
Yeah.
What is your deepest passion, man? DJing or interviewing people and exploiting the culture?
Exploiting?
Yeah, I call this exploiting the culture. Put it this way, that's
however you want to call it. Man, listen.
Just the because we bringing the culture to the light, man.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You DJ yourself too, right?
Yeah.
Right. So you know the feeling of when you're just right there with a huge crowd, and you know you put on that next record and everyone goes crazy and the dance floor, you know, is filled and everyone's in here dancing with the crowd and it's all crazy and you love that, right? And you love that feeling. But I think ultimately, you know, at least for me, I get the most passionate over the things that I'm most successful at.
Right.
And as a DJ, I was moderately successful. You know what I mean?
Right.
I had some mixtapes that people with. I got to tour in different parts of the world, but I was never like Diplo or Mark Ronson or, you know,
Yeah.
or these these major house DJs, you know, and so forth. I was not bringing in those crowds and pulling in that type of money. So once I got into interviewing people and I saw what happened, you know, I saw the effect and I saw the millions of people that I started to affect on a daily basis. That really became my passion, and it made me sort of just, you know, because when VladTV started in 2008, and I saw what YouTube was, that was, you know, like 2008 is when YouTube first launched this partner program, which meant that they start running ads on their videos, and you could actually turn into a real business. I was doing DVDs at the time, and I was also DJing and doing mixtapes and whatever else. But once I saw that, I said, this is absolutely the future. So I have to put the DJing to the side. I have to put the mixtapes to the side. I have to put the DVDs and the documentaries to the side, because this is going to be where my future lies, and I'm not going to get there if I'm trying to juggle 3 or 4 other things.
Right.
So yeah, I think my deeper passion is in the interviewing, and I think I made more of an impact in that than with the DJing.
Than DJing.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you something, man, because you've interviewed some of the most biggest people, man, in hip hop. Period. You know what I'm saying? And I consider you two one of the biggest hip hop interviewers of all time. But there are other people that feel like me about you, DJ Vlad. How does it feel to be one of the biggest hip hop interviewers of all time?
I just feel like it's lucky almost. Like I feel like I wake up every morning and say, I wasn't really supposed to be here. I was just happy being a hip hop fan. Like my goals as a teenager were not to be a DJ or an interviewer or a producer or any of the stuff that I kind of dabbled in. It was, I just thought I'd always be a fan.
Right.
So to actually break that, you know, to break that wall and to go from listening to Flavor Flav to having conversations with Flavor Flav is almost like it's like surreal to me. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
because
right.
I never thought I would be here. This was not in the plan. This was me just trying to figure out what to do with my life and just adapting and seeing the opportunities and finding out what my passions are and trying different things and seeing
Right.
what works. And when it worked, it really ended up being, it surpassed my expectations, because, you know, I would read every Source magazine, every XXL magazine, every Rap Pages. Like I would front to back. And to think that I never thought I'd have my own media company that'd be bigger than these things. Like, it was just like, I was just happy being a fan. So to not be a fan, I mean, I'm still a fan, but to actually be part of the conversation and to actually sit down with these people like yourself is just, like I said, I'm still not used to it. I still just wake up every morning like, wow, like this is what I do for a living. It's crazy.
Well, I ain't gonna lie, man. VladTV is huge.
It's a good size.
I mean,
good size.
huge, bro. You know, and I know that you started small. Started from the bottom, but
Very
now
bottom.
you're here.
Yeah, 2008.
You know what I'm saying? And let me ask you this: How has the music industry changed since your come up? Has it changed a lot since your come up? And
Yeah.
what do you think about the change?
I embrace all the change, man. You know, I never wanted to be the guy that was like, oh, this is all bullshit. You know, it's all about 90s hip hop. You know, although I love 90s hip hop,
Right.
I just don't want to keep listening to the same records over and over again.
Right.
So
Right.
so I embrace all the change. The fact that, like, you and I remember, you know, saving up our money to buy that CD, you know, at Tower Records or wherever. You know what I mean?
Right.
You buy that CD and that's all the money you have that week. And you sit and you hope that the whole CD is dope, because you can't listen to it ahead of time. You hope you heard the single and you hope the rest of it is good, because that's all the money you got and that's all the music you're going to get for the next however long.
Right.
And you sit there in your house, in your car, and you listen to it and you read the credits and you really, like, you know, dig into who the producers are and who the engineer is and everything, and you listen to it over and over again. And now it's like you got streaming.
Right.
And you could listen to whatever you're not buying anything anymore. You're paying your subscription.
Yeah.
And your attention span is different now.
Right.
Whatever you feel like listening to from any era, from old, new, whatever, you could listen to it and you could bump it for a while, or you could listen to it once and toss it.
Right.
And it changes your relationship with the music.
Right.
It's not as personal and it's not as intimate anymore. But it also allows for more discovery, because you may not want to spend $15 on some shit you never heard of, but you'll stream it for free.
Right.
So I've discovered so many dope artists just by getting to stream them for free.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, the record labels don't control everything anymore. The major labels don't. I mean, they still do their thing, but you know, I got to see during that time, people like Mac Miller would have a #1 album independently,
right,
in hip hop, which has never happened before until
right,
he did it,
right.
And you see people building up their own buzz and creating their own following from nothing, without any sort of stamp from a Def Jam, you know, or a cosign from Universal or whatever else that you needed to have during your day. Mm-hmm. Let's just keep it 100. How many major groups during your era that are independent anyone even knows about anymore? Right. Everyone had to be on a major label to really get that audience. And that's just not true anymore. Right. Like people could build their own buzz. People, you know, and you see the talent rise to the top. And eventually they do sign with a label, but you know, it's just it becomes more organic, and it becomes more up to the people what they want to listen to, as opposed to what is being forced onto them, which is what historically it's been. And this is not just in music. This is in my business as well, in media, right? Like if you were not a Source magazine and had millions of dollars behind you to print up these stacks of paper and get advertising and do all this type of stuff, you are not a media outlet. You might have like a little local newsletter in your neighborhood, but you're not a real media outlet. I was sort of the first generation, I think, of independent hip hop media outlets that just said, yo, I'm just going to sprout out. I'm going to record my own shit. I'm going to own my own shit. I'm going to release it on the internet. And that's the way it's going to spread. Because during my DJ days, it was the same type of thing. I was living in Oakland at the time, and I wanted to get my mixtapes out there. So I was the first DJ to actually put my mixtapes on the internet. Wow. And the first mixtape was the Cypress Hill mixtape. Me and B Real talked about that when we did our interview. He remembers that mixtape. You know what I mean? But I was the first one to actually say, yo, I'm releasing this on the internet. I'm not going to Canal Street. I'm not going to the swap meet in LA. I'm releasing it on the internet, and anyone could download it for free. So that already put me in the mind state of like, yo, like you could do this yourself, and you could build your own audience yourself independently and build it up to the point where you're bigger than some of these companies. Right. You know, that's pretty much what I did.
Hey, yo, you know, let me tell you, man, even though they, you know, got the streaming thing now and everything, you know, I mean, it was, to me, it was still a lot more fun selling records and shit, you know, selling CDs.
I bet.
You know what I'm saying? And the whole nine, and now
a lot more profitable too.
Huh?
A lot more profitable too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because instead of getting the 0.001 cent to hear the song, you'd have to buy the single for $1.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was a lot more fun to me. You know what I'm saying? When we were able to sell the vinyls and sell the CDs. You know what I'm saying? And then also, you know, when we used to like do our mixtapes and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? And the whole nine, a lot of this stuff that we used to put on our mixtapes came from these vinyls and CDs. You know what I'm saying? And the whole nine. Do you still have a copy of that first mixtape you ever put out?
No, I don't think so.
No?
I don't think so. Nah.
Nothing in the archives?
Nah. I'm not really
Do you got any copies of any of your mixtapes?
I don't think so.
Because I would love to hear a DJ Vlad mixtape.
You can find
back
it
in the days type of shit, you know?
You can find them on eBay. I still see them being auctioned off on eBay and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, the first. It's interesting because what really got me in the game got my name known in mixtapes because I'd moved to New York and I was broke, homeless, and I was trying to figure out how to really get my name out there. And me and DJ Dirty Harry, who was Nas's DJ, I got with him and we got a hold of some Biggie acapellas. And we dropped this mixtape called Biggie Rap Phenomenon. And we took all these Biggie acapellas and put them on different beats.
Wow.
And that kind of like, it became a big mixtape, right?
Right.
That was the first time I became known. And then after that, we brought in DJ Green Lantern, who was Eminem's DJ, and we did part 2, Tupac Rap Phenomenon.
Right.
And we got a bunch of acapellas this time around. And not only did we get a bunch of acapellas, but then we took the acapellas, put them on different beats, and then we brought in Alicia Keys, Busta Rhymes,
right.
Bun B, Bounty Killer, Exhibit, just a bunch of different people to do verses, Wyclef. Like, you know what I mean? Like all these people were doing verses with Tupac when Pac wasn't around anymore, but it was like, you know, on different beats, and it was just such a dope project. And that's really what I was really into, was doing blends, like taking an acapella and a different beat
and a different beat,
putting it
putting
together,
that
and
on that beat.
Yeah, and that's what I was doing for years and years and years.
Yo, have you ever got to interview any of those people that you just named?
I've interviewed Buster. I've interviewed.
You did Buster?
I've done Buster.
You know where Buster got his name from, right?
From you? There we go.
Yep. Back in the days.
I can see that.
Back in the days, we put the group leaders of the new school together.
Aha.
And, you know, we gave them all names. And there was a football player by the name of Busta Rhymes back in the days.
Really?
And Chuck D is the one that named Busta after that football player.
Ah.
That's where Busta Rhymes got his name from.
Yeah, I mean, I've done Busta Rhymes. I've done Bun B a couple of times.
How was it with my man Bun B? I love me some Bun B.
Bun is dope, man.
That's
Bun,
my dude.
Bun is dope, man. And so intelligent.
Yeah.
You know, so smart. He was a professor at, I think, a university in Texas. He's now one of the heads of the NAACP in
wow.
Houston.
Bun B?
Really, yeah,
He's
man.
one of the heads of the NAACP?
In Houston. Or Texas, one of the two.
Yeah, he's in
his
Houston.
chapter, yeah. His chapter.
That's big, man.
Yeah, man.
Go ahead, Bun.
Yeah, he real smart, man. I mean, really, I got to interview most of my
What about my
heroes.
girl Alicia Keys? You ever get Alicia Keys?
I came close. I went to their house. I went to Swizz and Alicia's house.
Okay.
Which was Eddie Murphy's old house.
Wow.
Bubble Hill in
and
Jersey.
do you know Eddie Murphy was in my 9th grade English class in Roosevelt High School?
I think we talked about that. Yeah, I heard about that.
Oh, okay, I told you that. I told you that.
Told me that, yeah. Yeah, I interviewed Swizz, but Alicia was just chilling upstairs.
Okay.
So no, I never got to actually interview.
How was it with Swizz? I know that was cool.
Swizz is dope, man. Swizz is dope, man. Swizz is dope.
Swizz
It's
is
funny.
the man, yeah.
Swizz, I was looking back at
Swizz.
I mean, this was like maybe 2010, maybe.
Wow.
And I remember I looked back at the video recently, and he was rocking a Richard Mille watch, which is like a $250,000 watch. And I had no idea what it was, but he was rocking that shit back then.
Yeah.
Like he had real money, like
wow.
serious money back then. Yeah.
Yo,
Yeah,
man, I'm going to tell you, man, I was down in San Diego, and they got this place, is it La Jolla?
Yeah, La Jolla.
La Jolla, right?
Yeah.
And they do the hang gliding thing. You know, you can jump off the cliff, man, and fly around on the parachutes.
Right.
And they flew me over Alicia Keys' crib. Whoa, gee. I was like, man, yo, the dopest crib. It looked like a glass house. Know what I'm saying? And the whole shit, man.
They got a lot of cribs.
Man.
They got a few houses.
Yeah. I know they do.
That's a power couple right there.
I know they. Come on, man. That's a power couple.
That's a power couple.
That's definitely a power couple, like Jay-Z and Beyonce.
Exactly.
Man.
Yeah.
Power couples, man. You know what I'm saying? Like
Just like
Wade, man. And come on, man.
Yeah.
Come on, man. That's the power couples, man. You know what I'm saying? Wow. But you never got to interview Biggie though, huh?
Nah. I just interviewed his bodyguard, Gene Deal.
Uh-huh.
the dude that was in Puffy's car
Right.
ahead of him.
Have you ever got to interview Puffy?
Yeah.
Yeah. You got to do P. Diddy?
Yeah, I did Puffy.
My boy P. Diddy?
I did Puffy once, yeah. I've done Puffy. I've done C's a long time ago.
Wow, Lil C's.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember, man, the first time when I met Biggie. You know, and I tell everybody this story, you know, and we were staying at the La Montrose Hotel over here, man. The first time that I met them, they were in the hallway shooting dice and shit, right? Playing CeeLo.
Sounds like Biggie.
So I asked them, can I play some CeeLo with them? Just make long story short. So they said, you know, yeah. You know what I'm saying? I went upstairs, got $400, came back downstairs, started gambling with Lil C's, Biggie and them. I took all that money and per diems and left them with the dice.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then the last time I seen Biggie, he was like, yo, Flav, come on, you ready to come back and get this money now? He was large. My boy was large and shit. But after that day, the next day, on top of the roof, at the poolside, they shot that video for Juicy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That was in L.A.?
Yep, at the La Montrose Hotel.
Oh, that's where that was?
Yes, that was at the La Montrose. Yep, that's right.
And that's how his career started, with that video.
Yep,
Yeah.
from that video right there. And that was big right there, you know, and the whole nine, you know. Yeah, man, I got to meet the whole Junior Mafia and all of them back in the days. It was great, man, you know. So, what's next for Vlad, man? What's next for you, G? What's in the works for you, man?
I mean, I can't do interviews forever. There's going to be a
Why not?
There's going to be a last interview for me. I mean, because we're only here on this earth for a certain amount of time.
You're doing good right now. And
I'm
on
doing
the roll.
good.
You're the brand new butter, baby. You're on the roll.
I'm doing good now, but I'm not. You know, at some point, you know, I'm gonna have to step away from it. So we have other interviewers.
And what are you gonna do when you step away from it? I mean, what is it that you want to do?
You know, I can see myself like an Oprah, where I'll come in and do a certain interview here and there. You know what I mean? Like when she comes in and does like Prince Harry and, you know, and Meghan Markle, like, you know, she'll come in and, you know, or she does like, you know, Leaving Neverland or something big like that, whether it's good or bad. And she still does the big interviews herself, but a lot of the heavy lifting is done by other people. Right. So we have, you know, like people like Lunel, for example.
You said Lunel?
Lunel, who's...
Man, I love Lunel.
I love
man.
Lunel.
She is funny as hell.
I love Lunel. And she's
That's my girl.
She's a regular guest on the show, but she actually does interviews for us as well. So, for example, she interviewed Shaka Khan for VladTV.
And Shaka's my good friend.
She interviewed Tiffany Haddish.
Wow.
John Amos. Sinbad. Those were all interviews that she did, you know, as a, you know, for VladTV, you know, but she would actually do the interview herself for us, and it would come out under VladTV. And you know, for example, you know, my man Zab Judah, who I had on the show,
Zab is my dude too.
He interviewed Mike Tyson for us.
Right.
You know, I mean, I jumped in at the end and asked a few questions, and Mike got a little annoyed with me, but most of the interview was done by Zab Judah for VladTV.
Right. And matter of fact, I seen part of that. That interview, Zab interviewing
Mike Tyson.
Yeah. But I didn't know that was for VladTV.
I know the Vlad logo right there.
See, come on, man. Look how big you is, bro. Come on, man.
So I want...
You got people like Zab Judah, man, interviewing people for you. Or you got people like Lonell interviewing people for you, man.
Yeah.
Come on,
man. So I want
like,
more of that. Like I want to have more of the people who I respect, you know, doing stuff for us and, you know, being able to put money in their pocket.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right, no doubt.
And you know, because let me tell you, when the pandemic hit, like some of our regular guests were kind of up, and we made sure we took care of all of them. You know,
right.
You know, especially some of the comedians who couldn't tour and stuff like that. We made sure that they were taken care of. You know what I mean? By putting extra money in their pocket and stuff like that. So I really want more of a staff of people that are out there doing all the dope interviews. And it's still going to be a Vlad, because, you know, we still work out the questions for them. You know, we told Zab, like, yo, here are the questions that we think will react for our audience. But it's up to you to ask what you want to ask. If you feel uncomfortable, you know, for example, asking about how Tyson lost his daughter, you know, which is a very touchy subject, like Zab didn't want to talk about that.
Right.
I respect it. I understand. You know what I mean? Because it's his interview. It's his face. It's his voice. But ultimately, we'll come up with the majority of the questions, so it'll still be along the lines of what we do with our audience.
Right.
So yeah, I want, you know what I mean? I want all the dope shows, all the dope podcasts to be part of Vlad TV.
So when when other people are doing these interviews for you, and when you decide that just don't want to do this no more, but yet you want Vlad TV to continue.
Yeah, which it will.
As Vlad TV continues, what are you going to be doing? That's what I want to know. What you
I'll
going
be
to be doing? Are you going to be out sailing boats now and shit, man? I mean, you know, what you going to be doing?
Well, listen, I mean, I'm still the CEO of the company. I have a staff of 15 people. So,
Right.
So that's a job in and of itself. Like, you know, we have 6 full-time video editors. I still have to meet with them every week and talk about the direction of where we're going. And, you know, I still have to steer the company. And that is, you know, it'd be nice to just steer the company without also being the talent, you know, which I have to do both of. You know, and it's cool. I don't mind being the talent because I really have a passion for this. But sometimes I'm doing interviews just to keep the conveyor belt going. You know, it may not necessarily be something I'm really like... You know, I know that if I interview this person, it'll get a certain number of views and my staff will have something to work on and the viewers will eat it up and stuff like that. But I would rather just sit there and say, you know, all right, you know, I'm just going to, you know, this week I'm only, you know, this month I'm only going to do 1 or 2 joints. Like I'm going to interview, you know, Rodney Jerkins, or I'm going to interview, you know, who are some of my favorite people to interview? You know, Juvenile. Or Mystical, you know what I mean? Like those ones I still would want to do, but let other people, you know, and maybe, you know, not only people that I respect, but maybe having some younger males and females come in and really kind of form their own and really get their interview chops down and really do the work and become stars on their own as well under our platform.
No doubt. Yo, there's one question that I wanted to ask you.
Okay.
Now, to all people that really don't know DJ Vlad, but yet they know of you, and to the ones that have misconceptions of you, what is it that you would want the world to know about DJ Vlad?
I think I want the world to know that I really love this hip hop shit. That this was something I started in 5th grade. So let me think. Let me do the math here. So we're talking about in the 80s, you know, 80, 86, 87. No, more like 80, 83, 84. Like when I first heard The Message by Grandmaster Flash and the Furious 5, or Run DMC's first album, or you know, Planet Rock, or Electric Kingdom by Twilight 22, Egyptian Lover, like all these records, you know, that really just sort of spoke to me and connected with me, and I was breakdancing during that time.
Right.
When there was no even remote thought of money or career or anything else like that. Like I love this hip hop shit, and you know I lived it, and I, you know, and it became part of me, became part of my identity, and it's something I held on to like since I was a child, for so long that when I finally got a chance to turn it into a real business, it was just such an obvious thing to do. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of people look at the business and say like, yo, he's just in it for the money. You know, he don't care about it. He's just here to make a check. But when you know, before Vlad TV, there was DJ Vlad, the DJ, the mixtape DJ, the club DJ. There's DJ Vlad, the breakdancer. There's DJ Vlad, the producer. For years, I was making beats. Right. I wasn't that good. You know what I mean? Like I realized one day I'll never be DJ Premier or you know, or the Bomb Squad. You know, and I had to just put my MPC 60 down. But I spent so many years doing this for free or doing it barely able to scrape by for decades and decades and decades that now people see the success, and I just want them to know that there's really love behind all this. This is why I think the success is there, because when I sit down with, yeah, I could sit down with Drake and 10 million people will watch it. That's easy to do. Anyone could do that.
Right.
But can someone sit down with Oaktown 357, JJ Fad, who hasn't had a hit record in 30 years?
Oh, I miss them. Those are my girls.
Who I just interviewed, and 500,000 people watch it, and got to, and it exposes them to a whole new audience, and you get to hear this really amazing story, and the story gets emotional at times, like, how their DJ Train died because his house was on fire, and he ran back in the house because he thought like his one of his siblings was in there, and he died in the house fire.
Wow.
And the sibling was already outside. And, Baby D is crying as she's telling the story, like to tell these important, amazing, powerful, emotional stories with people who are not in the forefront, have not had a hit,
Right.
In decades.
Right.
And to tell their story and to get that out there to millions of people, that to me is the accomplishment. Not so much the, I know if I get Lil Baby on the couch, like, it's easy, but who could sit down with, a Curtis Blow or,
Right.
or someone, or just a gangster figure that no one outside of Washington, D.C. knows about, and millions of people watch this story. Like that type of thing, like a Lil D from Oakland or people like that. Some of the street legends that are heroes to people in this hometown that never got to hear his or her story before. That to me is like, that's the accomplishment. That's what our brand is about, to let people tell these stories and have these stories be immortalized. Right. And with these stories, it turns into careers for people. Like people after a few million people, Micayla, her documentary, her biopic was done based on our interview. My man Mob James has a whole podcast career because his first interview with us did so well. Like, people get more bookings. People, my man, what's his name? Who did the voice of the Lion King? Hold on a second. I gotta look up his name because then I'm gonna feel bad.
One thing that I could say about you, Vlad, I don't care what nobody say, but you real deep, bro.
Jason Weaver, right? Jason
Weaver, okay.
Jason Weaver, our interview went so big that I remember he called me afterwards and said, "Yo, I got a couple movie and TV roles based on that interview." And I never asked what those roles were. And then I'm watching The Chi, one of my favorite shows on Showtime, and there he is. And I'm like, yo, was this one of the roles? He's like, yeah, that's one of the roles that I'm talking about. Like, yo, he's on my favorite show. And it was, he's telling me it's because of this interview, because the interview got so big. And it's like, yo, to be able to positively affect people's lives like that is, to me is just, I can't even get my head around it. So that's what I want people to know, that there's a real love and a real passion behind it. It's not just about the check. I mean, the money's cool. Like we all like money.
Right.
Right. We all like to not worry about our bills.
That's right.
We all like to take care of our families.
That's right.
Because we all grew up. I mean, I grew up in the projects of Springfield, Massachusetts. I grew up as an immigrant, right? You grew up. Like, we talked about that.
That's right.
Where
That's
you
right.
can't just wake up and eat whatever you want to eat or buy whatever you want to buy.
That's
to be
right.
able to do that and have and give that to your family that otherwise would not have, that you have not done that. Who doesn't want that? But for us, and for me, it's like the passion and the love is what drives it all.
Right.
And
that's right.
That's what makes it all happen. That's what I want people to know.
Yo, let me tell you something, man. I mean, one thing that I could say about your show, you've also helped to make people. You know what I'm saying? Come on, man, that's big that somebody would watch Vlad, would do an interview on VladTV and then end up getting movie roles from your TV show. All because somebody was watching your TV show.
Right.
So your TV show has helped to even make people, which is big. You know what I'm saying? In the whole nine. And how does that feel, knowing that you help somebody get big?
Feels great because they come onto my platform and help us as well.
Right.
Right? So it's sort of like one hand washes the other. Right. It's never like, I never feel like they owe me anything. Like, yo, that's dope. Like their accomplishment is payment for me. You know?
Right.
It's like because they came onto my platform, and I mean, look, at one point we didn't have an audience. We didn't have very much. A lot of people with us early on that didn't have to, and helped us do what we did, and we do. These days we do pay a lot of our guests, but back in the day we didn't pay anybody. So people were just doing it either because they with me or because they wanted access to that platform.
Right.
So it's great, man. And, we are where we are because of the guests and the viewers. And, now we have a platform, of whatever, close to over almost 5 million subscribers on YouTube.
Wow.
And we do 2 to 3 million views a day, every day.
That's big.
I mean, that's an audience.
Yes.
And we feel that if we plug the right person into that audience, everyone wins.
Right.
The viewers connect, the people that are watching connect, and whether you love us or hate us, everyone's still watching. Like, Drake has never done a VladTV interview, but he's referenced things from VladTV interviews in his songs and you know what I mean?
Right.
And so forth. So it's like, we just it's nice to just be a staple and feel like we're here, we're not going anywhere, we're gonna be here after I'm not around. And it's something that I built that can be passed down and could stay past my lifetime, which is, something that, like, for example, Q from World Stars accomplished as well, because he passed away a few years ago. I mean, me and him were kind of friends, competitors, that type of thing. But, he died prematurely, in his 40s, I believe. But the brand is still alive. And I think that's dope. That's what I strive to as well.
So outside the interview, and then, I mean, you do have a heart.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you got passion. You know what I'm saying? And,
yeah.
And not only that, but I could tell you somewhat like me that wants nothing but the best for people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And all you want to do is just see people grow, man.
Yeah.
And we and people like us would do everything that we can in our power to help them grow.
Yeah.
And don't look for nothing in return.
Yeah, like John Sally's a regular on my show, right? And I remember a few months ago.
John Sally, that's my dude. Everybody that you mentioned though, you just
all
know
cool people.
Just know that they my
cool
my peeps,
people.
Man. Yeah. Everybody that you mentioned, man, Yeah.
Like John Sally, like a few months ago was like,
Love John.
He's like, yo, I want to get on, I want to be one of the announcers on Big 3. I auditioned for it. Michael Rapport got it, but whatever, I still want to do it. And then I just had him on, and he was like, yo, I'm an announcer on the Big 3 now.
Wow.
And I'm like, did the interview have something to do with it? He goes, yeah, I sent it to them. Like,
no doubt.
He sent it to Ice Cube, and Ice Cube was like, all right, and it all worked out. Now he's an announcer on the Big 3, and it's like, oh shit. Not to say I don't take any responsibility for it, but it's like, he first mentioned it on my show, and then now he's really doing it.
Now he's really doing it.
He's really doing it, and it's like, yo, like, you get enough eyeballs, it'll happen.
Just like John Sally wanted to be the announcer for Big 3. Mm-hmm. You know what I want to do?
What's that?
I want to be that next voice for boxing.
Okay, I can see that.
I want to be that next voice for boxing.
Snoop just did it.
Like Mike Tyson, he threw a boxing event out in Pennsylvania, and they had me come out there, and they had me be the ring announcer. It went great. I ain't gonna lie. It went great, and I did my thing. And you know what? I said to myself, Vlad, I really like this. I think I want to do this. And not only that, but I can hear my voice there.
Mm-hmm. I can see
that.
that.
You know what I'm saying? In this corner, you know what I'm saying? Da-da-da-da-da, fighting out the blue corner. No, such and such fight, Man, listen, I see my voice there, and I want to do that. You know what I'm saying? So that's big that John Sally got to get a role from people watching Vlad TV.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say that that's the whole thing, but, from what he's saying, it played a part, and that's great. That's great. And it's not like I don't want nothing off that. Like, yo, I'm happy that my man has been with me for so long. It's like, how often do you get a 4-time NBA champ?
Right.
To just show up whenever you ask him?
That's right.
You know what I mean?
That's
like
right.
a 4-time
That's right.
NBA champ.
Come on, man. Come on, man. How many times can you get a DJ Vlad to show up after asking him, man? Come on, man.
Yeah.
You showed up to my show, bro. This is huge to Flavor Flav. Having DJ Vlad on my show is huge to Flavor Flav. I'm sorry, bro. I know that I might have been on your show and that might have been huge to you.
Absolutely.
But you got to remember one thing, man. As much as you've done, come on, man, this is huge to me. And I just thank you, bro. Thank you so much, man, for coming through my show, Vlad.
Thanks for having me, man.
You know what I'm saying? For real, man. And I'm going to do my best with this. I'm going to do my best with this, man. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to tell you something. I don't care if this show does big numbers or not. I know one thing. You did big numbers in my heart, bro. By showing up here, man. You know what I'm saying to my show, bro. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Everybody, my boy, the one and the only one, DJ Vlad. All right, before we go, there's one thing that I do want to touch on with you, right?
Yeah.
Because one thing about us, we got to keep it real. Always keep it real with our peoples, man. You know what I'm saying? And you did an interview with Lil Boosie, and you told Lil Boosie that I was trying to get in contact with you.
Right.
So about a TV show.
About a Flavor of Love type.
About a Flavor of Love
type TV show. Right.
And I don't know what you told me now that your secretary.
Right. Well, I got an angry phone call from Flavor Flav about it.
Yeah,
right.
You said your secretary sent that to you or something like that, but I never once spoke about Boosie doing a show like this, number one. You know what I'm saying? And second of all, if I ever wanted to get in contact with Lil Boosie, I would get in contact with him.
Yeah.
Just like I got in contact with you. Right. I got your number, bro. And
we got each other's number.
I could always call you, bro. You know what I'm saying? And
Facts.
be like, yo, Vlad, yo, this is what I want to do. Come on, let's do it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So that situation, I blame myself.
You gotta.
I blame myself.
You gotta.
It's my fault. My fault.
You gotta.
My assistant hit me up and said, yo, I got a text that Boosie, that Flav wants to do a Flavor of Love type show with Boosie, right? And at the time, I'm not thinking.
And where did and I want to know where your assistant got that from.
Someone that you know texted him that I guess now looking back on it, y'all don't actually work together, but someone that you know texted him and told him that he forgot to mention to me that it didn't come from you, that he made it sound like it came from you. So I just was like, oh, okay, let me help out. I hit up Boosie and said, oh, you know, Flav wants to do something. Boosie never hit me back. So I just left it alone. And then when we did our last interview, I remembered, I'm like, oh, let me just bring it back up again. And he's, you know, and he responded, he was like, nah, you know, I'm not really, you know, for shows like that, I want to have full ownership and stuff like that. And then I get the angry phone call from you. And you were like, yo, I never said that.
But guess what though?
Yeah.
But the phone call was never angry.
Well, annoyed.
And the reason why I say that, Vlad,
you were annoyed.
Because
as you should be.
Because I never was angry, but I was just a little disappointed.
Right.
That you would throw my name out there like that. You know what I'm saying? Because you said Flav called me. You said those words. You said Flav called me and trying to get in contact with you. Yeah. So, because he wanted to know, would you do a show like the Flavor of Love or something? But I said to myself,
you never said that, yeah.
Why are you telling that man that? I never said no shit like that.
I dropped the ball.
Never.
I dropped the ball. I'm thinking I'm doing you a favor. You know, I'm just connecting the dots. And then afterwards, when I went back and I hit up my assistant and we looked at the text message, it didn't come from you. It came from someone that you know, though. And we don't have to put that person's name out there, but you know who it is, right?
I don't know who it is, but you should have never said I called you.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Those words right there.
You're right, because it had happened Hey,
let me tell you something, man. Words is like
Right.
like a sword, man.
No, you're right.
You know what I'm
You're
saying?
right.
The whole nine.
I dropped the ball
And-
because it had been 6 months ago and I
Yeah,
forgot how it
man.
went. But I looked up the text message. I sent you a copy of the text message that we got.
Right.
So just to show that I'm not just making up shit for no reason and just trying to cause problems, because I wasn't. I thought I was just helping someone out. But yeah, it didn't come from you. It came from someone who knows you, who was
Right.
trying to speak on your behalf, who made it sound like they were speaking for your behalf.
Right.
But ultimately, it
The
didn't
only
come
thing
from
that
you.
got me was just your choice of words.
Yeah,
When you
the
said
words-
Flav called me.
Because you never called me. You never called
Bam.
me. It was a text message
Bam.
to my assistant
There it is.
that was forwarded to me that
There it
I
is.
then forwarded to Boosie. And then when it finally came out on the air, you were understandably annoyed about it, and I had to just take my L and apologize.
No
You know
doubt.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Because if
yeah.
I ever drop your name, it's going to be in the right
You're right.
context and it's going to be true. I would never
You're right.
lie about you or anything like that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And I
would
felt
just
bad,
want you
man.
to give me that same respect.
No, you're
though.
right, man. And
So
I
don't
felt
say
bad.
I called you when I never called you.
You never called me. You never called
know
me.
what
So
I'm
so
saying?
I threw out the
Yeah.
wrong words. It was coming from the wrong person.
And I wasn't angry.
I f***ed it all up.
Yes.
You know,
Hey.
under my own watch.
Hey, check this out. I never was angry. I
Yeah.
never was mad at
Right,
you.
because
Never.
that conversation ended up with us doing this interview.
You better
Yeah.
believe it. Hey, let me tell you something, man. Any kind of conversation that we have, even if there was a misunderstanding at one point, it's going to always end with love.
Right.
And it's going to always end with us giving a pound, a hug, and bam, and let's,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying, let's get together again.
Right. Because,
You know what
I mean,
and that's what it's supposed to be about.
Yeah.
That's what all misunderstandings should be about.
yeah, and I think that based on conversation.
Not just me and you, but
Yeah, in
with
general.
everybody.
Yeah.
In general.
Well, I think that you could tell from our conversation that I had no malicious intent. I wasn't benefiting from this in any type of way. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was just thinking I was passing a message along. I wasn't trying to hurt anyone. I wasn't trying to profit. I wasn't doing anything but just passing along a message. But it didn't come from you. I used the wrong words in saying that you called me, and I f***ed it all up in the process. So me and Boosie gonna have to have a conversation about this as well.
No doubt.
You know what I mean? The same way I had with you, because I understand you called him directly and so forth. So now me and him have to have a conversation. Or I could just show him this video and
Yeah.
I could be
I had
explained.
ended up speaking to Boosie.
And how did he react?
Huh? And I let him know, but I let him know that I never called you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And what did he say?
And you know what? He just
He's like, all right.
later for it. You know, we just moved on.
Right.
You know
Boosie's
what I'm
not
saying?
tripping, man.
It wasn't no big thing
Yeah.
to him. And shit, you know, it wasn't no big thing to Boosie. You know what I'm saying?
Because Boosie
I mean,
knows me too, and Boosie knows that I've never done anything underhanded or anything beyond what you know I've ever presented. You know what I mean? He knows
Right.
that I'm a straightforward person. You know, I don't.
And that's the best way
yeah.
to be, straightforward, bro.
I don't. I've never owed anyone any money. I've never robbed anyone. I've never stolen from anyone. I've never skimmed. You know, like when we started our company, our thing was like, our employees gonna get paid before we get paid, and that's the way we've always been. And you know, you can like me or dislike me, but you can never say that I robbed you or I did something underhanded or whatever else.
Right.
So that's why this situation bothered me, because I'm like, this is making it look like I'm somehow lying on someone or whatever else. When I'm thinking,
and mainly when you know the other motherfucker that you're lying on is your man.
right?
Come on, I'm your man. I'm your man,
both
man.
Both of y'all,
I
you
know
and
we both
Boosie.
your man.
Yeah.
I know we both your man, but you gotta remember one thing. I was here first.
Yeah,
Sorry.
this is true.
I was
is
here
true.
first. I was your man, but before you knew Boosie, you knew Flav. You know what I'm saying?
Actually, I actually met Boosie first.
You
Because
did?
remember, I said it was like 2004 that I met Boosie.
And
I
when
met
did,
you
and,
like
when did you do this thing in Central Park with us?
2009, I think.
Oh, okay. Yo, Boost. He knew you first, Boost. He knew you first, Boosie. Yeah, but we both your man, though.
Yeah.
We both got love for you,
and
man.
I only wanted the best for both of y'all. Like, I was thinking that if this happened, great. I you know, I didn't want nothing off of it, nothing. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm able to connect y'all, and if this ended up being a hit show, great. Two people that
Tell you
with
something.
are doing well.
I couldn't see Boosie doing a show like that because it don't fit him. Just don't fit his
personality?
style, man. Yeah, he's more like a boss type, man.
He is.
You know what I'm saying?
And that's what he said. He said
Yeah,
that
he's
when it
more
comes
like-
to these
yeah,
types of
yeah, he's more
shows,
like a boss
I
type.
need the boss. I need to own it. I don't want to just do it for a network.
Right.
You know, no offense to anyone else who does it.
Yeah.
But he's like, I get a lot of offers like this, and unless I own it and produce it, I'm not interested.
Right.
And you got to respect that.
I can't blame him.
You got to respect that.
I can't blame him on that.
He's done very well using that methodology. So you got to do it. You know, you got to respect it,
Yo,
man.
that's the craziest thing. Everybody's, he was walking through the airport and people was calling him Flavor Flav.
Right.
You know, and he was like, yo, come on, man, it's too early in the morning for this shit.
Crunchy Black too. He gets confused.
Yo, I seen that too on your interview. Crunchy Black.
He said when he lived in Vegas, people were calling him Flavor Flav.
Flavor Flav.
Yep.
Hey, you know what? But one thing that I could say to both of them, they can't be mad for being mistaken for me, because at least they're being mistaken for somebody.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Big.
And not only that, but they're being mistaken for being somebody's favorite person. Yeah. Because I know one thing about Flav, in a lot of people's hearts, I'm their favorite person.
Facts.
So for them to mistaken in Bootsy, or Crunchy Black for me, to them, I don't care. That should be big to them.
Yeah, I'm sure
that
it
should be big to them, man.
Yeah,
you know
it's a
what
compliment.
I'm saying? Word up, man.
Yeah, both of them treated it like a compliment. Neither one of them said anything negative to
Because I ain't gonna lie, that shit is big to me. That these people are want to mistaken them for me. And right now, come on, man, Boosie, come on, man, he's big in the hip hop world right now, bro. He's, you know what I'm saying? We're Crunchy Black.
3-6 Mafia.
They're big to the society today, to the new generation.
Absolutely.
To the newer generation.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if I'm big to the newer generation. I'm big to the old generation. But the newer generation, yo, man, they big. So that's big to me, that they being mistaken for me, man. But thank you for clearing that up, DJ Vlad.
Absolutely, man. Like I said, man, I'm not ashamed to when I make a mistake. You know, and mistakes are going to be made along the way.
Right.
But my
we
whole
all
thing
make
was,
mistakes, bro.
I only had good intentions behind this mistake.
Right.
And I stand behind that. And no one could say otherwise on that.
See, can I tell you something about mistakes? Mistakes, first of all, they were made to make.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And they were made to make over and over and over until you learn how not to make them again. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Mistakes were also made to learn from.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that way you could teach other people about those mistakes so they won't make those mistakes that you made. Yeah. Like that. Thanks. That's what I feel about mistakes. Yeah. So, hey, ain't nobody perfect. The only perfect element in life that we have is God. None of us are perfect, man. We all gonna make mistakes, man. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
We'll make more.
So who am I to condemn you for a mistake that you made? Yeah. You know, or who are you to condemn me for a mistake that I made? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Word up, man. We all should be able to forgive each other for our mistakes and just KIM, keep it moving. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
And I appreciate you for giving me for my mistake. Like I said, it was my mistake. And no matter who else was involved in it, it was as the boss of the company, it's on me. I'm the one who ultimately was responsible. So thank you for forgiving me. Operation No Doubt is now in progress. That's right. DJ Vlad, you the son of a bad. Yo, thank you, man, once again, bro, for coming down here, man, and being on my podcast, man. You know what I'm saying? For real, man. And also, if there's anything that you want to put out there to the world, you know what I'm saying, before we get off, now is your chance. Get it in. You know, just thank you to everyone that's been watching VladTV on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TV, VladTV.com. You know, it's just it's a blessing that we have that many people that really care about what it is that we put out there. Because that's the whole thing about creating content, whether it's music or video or art, you know, paintings or whatever else that you do. You put it out there for people to consume it, you know. And the fact that we put out, you know, 7-10 clips a day and all of them get consumed by the audience, man, it's just great. It's mind-blowing to me. You know, check out, you know, we have a YouTube membership, which is sort of like our big thing right now, because as you remember, when we put out our interviews, we put it out by clips.
Right.
So every day there's like a 3 to 5 minute clip until the whole interview's done, and then you get the full interview at the end.
Right.
As a VladTV YouTube member, you can get the full interview on the first day.
Right.
And you know, literally thousands of people have signed up, and more sign up every day.
Right.
So you know, if you want to get everything early, get a VladTV YouTube membership, man. You can get the interviews exclusive and first. You know, and just appreciate all the fans, man, and all the people that have come in and done interviews with us.
No doubt. Thank you, Vlad.
Thank you.
Everybody, DJ Vlad, my man, the one and only and the only one. And the only place that you can find us is right here on the Flavor Flav Show. Original podcast, everybody. Thank you all for tuning into my show. I appreciate you for your time, this time. Until next time. DJ Vlad, everybody. Yeah, boy. Yeah. VladTV, baby. Make sure y'all tune in.